Hello, and welcome to Ten-Sational, the channel which aims to list different categories from 10 to 1. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Premier League goalkeepers and finding out who truly is the ultimate number 1. Let's dive right in. Number 10, Joe Hart. Hart came to the attention of everyone whilst on loan at Birmingham as a youngster. His fantastic form earned him a first-team place back at his parent club Manchester City. He established himself there as a fan favourite with regular eye-catching displays. His top form also earned him international recognition as he became England's number 1. It was the arrival of Pep Guardiola which ended his stint at City. The Spaniard demanded a different style of goalkeeper which Hart was considered unable to become. It was best for both parties to part ways. After a few loan moves, he joined Burnley on a permanent deal. This was considered his final chance to remain at the highest level, but he never quite regained that spark he once had. He now finds himself at Tottenham, where he seems content to now play the backup role in the squad. Number 9, Nigel Martin. Nigel personified reliability and consistency throughout his career. He was never known for his flashy saves, but for being a dependable shot stopper who could always be counted on. Although starting his Premier League career at Crystal Palace, it was at Leeds where Martin gained his reputation. The highlight being Leeds' remarkable Champions League run in 2001. The emergence of a young Paul Robinson spelt the end of his time in Leeds, but his talents were admired on Merseyside and Everton picked him up. He continued being the steady presence for the Toffees where he eventually ended his career. He was unlucky that his international honours were never what they could have been, as he found himself behind David Seaman, more on him later. Number 8, David James. Someone who may be a surprise entrant. James was known for having a few embarrassing moments between the sticks. However, he has the 4th highest amount of appearances in Premier League history with 572. Somebody with that record has to be considered a great. James has featured for many clubs, again pointing to his reputation being a little undeserved. Liverpool, Aston Villa, West Ham, Manchester City and finally Portsmouth all felt he was worth taking on as being their number 1. It was on Merseyside where he made his name, but his most memorable moment was at City, where he was utilised as an auxiliary forward in a match against Middlesbrough. Although it was fun to see, the unorthodox tactic had no impact. It wasn't only top league clubs who ignored his Calamity James moniker, the national team also utilised his talents. He was England's main man in Euro 2004 and the World Cup in 2010. Number 7, Shay Given. Given is a keeper who always seemed a little underrated. His lack of medals are unfair for someone of his ability. He spent the prime of his career as Newcastle's undoubted number 1, and although he played for a team led by the all-time Premier League scorer, Alan Shearer, the support cast around them were never quite good enough. When Man City's big bucks came calling, it was the move up the table Given deserved. It seemed like a great choice by City to pick up a Premier League proven keeper of his caliber, and although he was successful, something just didn't fully click there. Joe Hart's standout loan spell at Birmingham meant he was chosen as first choice on his return to the club and Given was sidelined. Aston Villa was his next destination where again, after one decent season, he found himself as second choice. From 2012 to 2017, Given only went on to make a further 12 Premier League appearances. His excellent earlier years are the reason he finds himself high up on the list. Number 6, Brad Friedel. Friedel was one of a number of successful American keepers to make it in England. His first foray came playing for Liverpool, but his big breakthrough was at Blackburn. For 8 years he made a name for himself there as one of the best in the business. If you think of great stoppers down the years, Friedel isn't a name that rolls off the tongue, but his legacy shouldn't be underestimated. It wasn't often that you ever seen him easily beaten. Similarly to Given, Friedel's career was not paved with the glory of silverware, winning only the League Cup with Blackburn in 2002. The difference between the pair was that when Friedel moved on from the club he spent the peak of his career at, he still found those reliable performances regularly. 3 years at Villa followed by 4 years at Spurs demonstrated that his age was no hindrance to his ability. Number 5, David De Gea. The only man on the list who is still capable of adding to his reputation, De Gea fully deserves his place here. Although his tenure as Manchester United's number 1 may finally be in doubt, what he has achieved on a personal level in recent times cannot be ignored. He was arguably considered the greatest in the world for a spell. Even when his team were struggling, De Gea constantly bailed them out of trouble with man-of-the-match displays game after game. You know you've made an impact when your style is instantly recognizable. He made saving with his feet a new art form as a keeper, and it quickly became his trademark maneuver. It's easy to forget that De Gea has been at United for 10 years currently, and that is likely to be extended further. You do not stay at a top club for that long unless you really are world class, and De Gea certainly is. Number 4, Edwin van der Sar. Van der Sar is a keeper whose standards seem to have never slipped. From his appearances at Ajax as a youngster, to his last hurrah at Man United, he was always considered one of the best around. It was Fulham where he surprisingly entered the Premier League's ranks after Juventus's signing of Buffon ended his spell in Italy. His dominant displays could not be ignored, and inevitably, the shrewdest manager of all time, Alex Ferguson, came calling for his services. He joined for around £2 million and stayed there for 6 years. But 40 years of age, he bowed out from United, and football altogether, playing his last game in the 2011 Champions League final. After many attempts, Van der Sar is easily the closest United have come to filling the big gloves left behind when Schmeichel departed the club. Number 3, David Seaman. One of the most recognizable faces in the country, Seaman was unmissable on and off the pitch. His trademark moustache and ponytail combo were only overshadowed by his enormous talent. It was Arsenal who were the beneficiaries of having Seaman in their ranks, playing for them for 13 seasons from 1990. During that time, he was part of the famous Arsenal defense known for their stinginess at giving up goals. Despite the odd costly mistake, Seaman was an incredibly important cog in the team's success throughout his time there. He won 2 league titles as well as 4 FA Cups and always made sure his Arsenal team were challenging for honours every season by delivering very consistent displays. Not only was he the man for Arsenal, he also made 75 appearances for England up until 2002. The highlight was his penalty shootout heroics against Spain at Euro '96. It was testament to his reliability how he was always picked ahead of a series of fantastic keepers, some who have appeared on this list already. Honorable mentions: Hugo Lloris, Jens Lehmann, Neville Southall, Mark Schwarzer, Pepe Reina. Number 2, Petr Cech. Most clean sheets ever, 4 Golden Glove awards, lowest amount of goals conceded in a season at 15. 4 Premier League titles. Statistically, there aren't many things that Cech isn't the best, or at least one of the best at, in Premier League history. Signing from Rennes under Claudio Ranieri's reign at Chelsea, it wasn't until a season later when Jose Mourinho arrived that Cech started his Chelsea career. In his first game, he was picked over the huge fan favourite Carlo Cudicini, which raised the eyebrows of a few Chelsea fans. It was quite evident from that game, and beyond, that we were witnessing a very special keeper. His career took a dramatic shift in a match against Reading, where Cech suffered a fractured skull in a challenge with Stephen Hunt. He was sidelined for 3 months until he reappeared in a match against Liverpool donning a protective cap, which later became an iconic part of Cech's legacy. Some people say he was never the same after that injury, but he constantly proved the doubters wrong. He went on to win several major honours, the highlight being lifting the Champions League trophy and saving several Bayern Munich penalties in a dramatic match in Munich in 2012. Cech surprisingly made the jump to North London and joined Arsenal in 2015 when it became apparent that Chelsea were going to give the number 1 spot to Thibaut Courtois. Although he never quite hit the heights as he did at Chelsea, Cech still proved to be a decent signing for Arsenal and being a reliable presence they've long been searching for. Number 1, Petr Schmeichel. Who else? There could only be one winner. Schmeichel was simply the greatest keeper the Premier League has ever had. He might not have the most clean sheets of all time, but he has definitely made the biggest impact of any goalkeeper. His enormous presence, his red nose, his angry ranting at his teammates and his patented star jump save. All parts of the Schmeichel repertoire he became known for. Being Man United's keeper for 8 years, he won everything there was to win. 5 league titles, 3 FA Cups and most famously, a Champions League trophy in '99, as part of a historic treble for the club. There was no doubt at all that Schmeichel was a huge player in all that success. It tells you all you need to know, that since he left the club, United have always been searching for someone who could be as impressive as he was, but could never quite find that someone. After the '99 season, Schmeichel left for pastures new in Portugal but quickly returned to England with Aston Villa, where he played for a season, before doing the unthinkable and joining United's biggest rivals, Man City. He never lost a Manchester derby, no matter which side he was on. There has never been a nickname more fitting than the one Schmeichel had. He truly was the Great Dane. Please like, share and subscribe.